There's a whole new nameplate now for Mazda, and it's a 2023 Mazda CX-50. We're going to be putting it to the test today on both the tarmacs and the trails to see whether if it's just a more rugged look or if it's the perfect adventure SUV. Alright, 7 a.m. in the morning, way too early for me, but we're going to be taking this Mazda CX-50 on a little adventure today up in Algonquin Park, where we're going to be camping and seeing how it does off-road, because it is made for some mild off-road use, as you can see by the ground clearance. But let's figure out how to get all this crap in the trunk right now. First up, we got an automatic tailgate and 31.4 cubic feet of space with the seats up, and 56.4 with the seats folded down, which is more than enough for all the stuff we got, including 2 coolers and a freaking raft in the trunk of the car. But now that we're done, let's hit the road. Damn it, of course we had to hit traffic on the way out the city, but luckily we do have a very good adaptive cruise and lane keep assist features, which pretty much does all the work in stop and go traffic along with the suite of safety features. Alright, now that we're on the open road, let's see what this thing can do with the 2.5 liter turbocharged inline 4 that we have today, making 256 horsepower and 320 pound-feet of torque. Alright, first thing first, it is hot as hell out, and I am really enjoying these ventilated seats right now. We're up on Highway 60 today with the breathtaking scenery and some really nice high-speed twisty turns. What's often overlooked is how refined and composed the ride is in all these new Mazdas. It doesn't feel like a lot of the cheaper cars where when you go over some loose or uneven roads, it feels like the car is becoming loose and it feels like everything's rattling or falling apart. And it feels like pretty much any other luxury SUV in ride composure. The fact that Mazda gave the steering wheel a nice little weight to it, made the suspension a little bit firmer, and even did little things like making the throttle pedal give some resistance when you're stepping on it for more feedback, is part of all the little things that Mazda does to make the car feel more sporty. The fuel economy is great. We've been driving about 60 miles per hour and we've been averaging 35.1 miles per gallon. In these turns though, the CX-50 has a new G-Vector control system with an all-wheel drive, which uses the brakes to shift power not only front and rear but also left and right around a corner, which rotates the car a bit more effectively. For 40k, the car is quite peppy and it accelerates to 60 pretty nicely and handles really well compared to a lot of what it's up against. But I'm not exactly a big fan of how the induced cabin noise sounds. It's always like, it sounds like freaking Cardi B all the time. As nice as this SUV is on the tarmac, it's time to hit the trail. Alright, let's put it in off-road mode, because even though it doesn't look like it on camera, it is quite steep and rocky. But luckily we do have an 18-degree approach and breakover angle along with 8.6 inches of ground clearance, all of which is significantly better than the CX-5. We're equipped with these beautiful 20-inch wheels and all-season tires, so we gotta be extra careful on the trail. In off-road mode, the idle is a bit higher and the clutch pack in the middle can shift power not only front and back, but also left and right. What it does is, because it's an open differential system, if one in particular wheel loses grip, it'll just spin. But with the brake vectoring system, it'll clamp down on that spinning wheel and not allow power to bleed out, so that it'll allow power to go to a different wheel that has grip or load on it. Also, the 360 camera with the front view definitely helps seeing over the hood while you're climbing up this steep hill. The trail is quite challenging for a lot of SUVs, but this thing makes it look really easy. It barely slips at all with the new off-road system, which proactively applies grip to the loaded wheels. The rugged look isn't just for show, it's actually surprisingly competent in tackling these trails, and I'm pretty impressed. As you can see here, when it does lose grip, the wheel will spin just a little bit until the brakes clamp down on that wheel in order to redirect the power to a different wheel. It takes a second for the traction control to figure out when and where to send the power, but when it does everything pretty effortlessly. I gotta say, I am really impressed with how well this car does off-roading. I didn't think it would even make it up this far. Good job, Mazda. As fun as those trails were, we are now here at the campsite, but before we set up tent, I just want to talk about the new look of the CX-50. Unlike the CX-5, the new design philosophy of the CX-50 gives it bold body lines and wheel arches that gives it more rugged and capable look. I like it a lot. It has more of a presence and makes a bolder statement while you're driving it down the road. The interior is upscale and made out of a lot of sustainable materials, and the color of these seats are just gorgeous. Mazda is really giving Lexus and luxury automakers a run for their money with a sleek yet luxurious interior. The contrast stitching on these terracotta leather seats, a huge panoramic sunroof, USB ports front and back, a spacious rear seat, heated and ventilated seats, Bose speakers, and look how nice just this mirror looks. Also, with most cars, the wireless charging, it's all the way up here. But look how Mazda made it right here, where I don't have to reach for my phone every single time. I appreciate Mazda thinking about ergonomics and how well everything fits in the hand nicely as soon as you get in. Alright, we finally made it. Let's set up the tent and get a fire going so we can cook up this food because I am hungry. Alright, enough food because I don't want to make you guys hungry as well. Let's enjoy the sunset and wait for the stars to come up. And of course, my favorite part is roasting the s'mores over the fire. But it's now time for the conclusion. It's hard to find a car that competes with the CX-50. With its upscale interior, fuel efficiency, composed yet sporty handling, and its off-road capabilities, that's more than enough for what most people will ever use it for. Makes it very hard to match up against anything. It's luxurious like the Lexus NX, yet cheaper and more capable, as off-road worthy as many of the Subarus, yet way nicer on the road. Makes it a very good balance of everything. So yeah, I'd say this is one hell of an adventure SUV. Everything set up, but we're missing our tarp, so we have this makeshift blanket tarp